Hi guys, I'm very excited to show y'all the fairy collection today. This will be this week's big collection release. There are no fall bundle exclusives or anything else this week, just the fairy collection. I did foil this in light gold to go with the mock spread that I'm going to be doing. I realize it's like 2 weeks of light gold in a row, but I think we need to go back to the basics a little bit, and I really do like light gold, so we're going to be doing that. As usual, a little disclaimer, any imperfections or black spots that you see on these sheets are only for these demo sheets and will not appear on any final product that goes out, so just kind of ignore that, and let's get into it. We'll start off with the underlays. As usual, we have our 4 main underlays, starting with the large pattern, which is the busiest one and is perfect if you have busy days and you use a lot of labels. If you use these underlays, you will still be able to see some of the design behind all of the boxes and labels. So we got some fairy elements. I kind of leaned heavily into the fairy garden aesthetic, so there's lots of like plants and other things in here, lots of mushrooms. I did use some keys as well, keeping with that fairy imagery, and there's like little butterfly wings as well. So there's the large, and then we have the medium, which is the same kind of designs, but in a more sparse pattern. There's also some sparkles in there. And then for the fun ones, we have this one, which is basically like a fairy garden. So it's mostly florals, but you can see the little fairies hidden, scattered around in there, flying around the garden. So this is a super fun one. And then for the more sparse, fun underlay, we just have a swarm of fairies flying around. You can see their little sparkle trails behind them. Some of them are carrying things. We have some carrying a key, and then plants, and then some are carrying mushrooms. So kind of fun. Little scenes going on there, and then we'll get into the confetti overlays, starting with the full. So this is the busiest confetti overlay, so we have all 4 corners and all 4 sides that have decorations. So we have our plants and mushrooms, fairy wings and keys, and then everything else to fill in there. And then we have the medium 4 corner, and then the medium 3 corner, medium 2 corner, and then the small confetti, which I'll do a quick size comparison. It is a little bit smaller than the medium size of confetti if you want to cover up even less clip art. And of course that also comes in the 3 and 2 corner varieties. So there's the confettis. And then we have the big box overlay, which as usual comes in the confetti design. It has some flag overlays on here as well. And then I did decide to have a little bit of fun this week and start doing additional big box overlay designs. So we have a kind of like a border big box design as well. And as usual, this does come in 2 sizes. The larger size covers larger big boxes, including Glam Planner and Apple Blossom Prints, and the smaller one covers well, it's only a few millimeters shorter, but it covers smaller big boxes like paper candy art. So there's a couple options for that. And then as usual, we have our tall box sheet, which has the tallest of tall boxes, and then the shorter size, which these are like the 2 standard sizes of tall boxes. So there's that. And then double box scenes. We have our classic confetti double box scene at the top. And then for the fun one, we have another little fairy garden aesthetic. We have our little fairy dancing around. And then that one is perched on a mushroom. And then for the quote boxes, there wasn't too much to go off of here, but we have I believe in fairies, leave room in the garden for fairies to dance. And those are like the full cover quotes with the confetti included. So if you have like a patterned full box, these are perfect for going over that. And then the 2 smaller quotes are fairy crossing over here, and then the one that goes across the bottom is just fairy dust. So there's these quotes, and there is a quote sampler, but that is on a smaller sheet for obvious reasons, so we'll go over that later. And then lastly, for the quarter sheets, we have the full box overlays. I really like this image down here of the fairy on the moon. super gorgeous. And then we have a couple border boxes with the fairy and the mushrooms, and then we have the little icon border over there. So those are the quarter sheets, and then we have a ton of smaller sheets as per usual. We'll start with the 1/8 sheets. So we have our hole reinforcers as usual. We have our headers, starting with the mushrooms, and then the confetti, and then the fairies with their little sparkle trail. And then for the 6th sheets, we have our deco sheets, which has some larger deco at the top leading into the smaller deco, and then we get some tiny clusters. And then we have tiny clusters and then just tiny deco at the very top. This is itty bitty deco, so there's like my nail for comparison. It's super tiny. I love doing like teeny tiny designs now. I feel like that mushroom is like the tiniest thing ever, and it's going to be probably pretty hard to pick up with tweezers, but I'm going to give it my best shot. And then for the little character sticker dress up sheet for this collection, I'm trying to do them for as many as I can, but I decided to do fairy wings because I thought it would be super fun and hilarious. It's going to be hard, I feel like, to choose characters that these are going to work with just because of the arrangement of these. Like these work best if the character is like kind of at an angle towards you as opposed to like straight on. If you were doing it straight on, then you can do like the right facing one and the left facing one and layer that behind the character. Or if they're also faced in like one direction completely, then you could probably like use one of these. I don't know, it might take some experimentation, but I'm going to give it my best shot. We have several varieties of wings here facing both directions, and I did kind of learn from my previous sheets and decided to start making them a little bit bigger. So we have some really big ones at the top, and then the medium, and then the tiny, and these are quite a bit bigger than, well, these are at least quite a bit bigger than previous sheets, so I think these will work a little bit better if you have a lot of room to use them anyway. And I did design them kind of so that you're supposed to layer the character a little bit over part of the wing to make it look like they're coming out from behind them. So you can kind of have a lot of fun with this sheet. And of course you can use it as just deco throughout the whole spread if you want to pick it up just for that. So there's that, and then we have the dividers. So we have little wings and sparkles, keys, mushrooms, and then the line dividers with the icons, and then they are of course mirrored for the other side. And this sheet is available on premium matte in case you're using really busy underlays and you still want to be able to see the divider over that. Then you'll want that like white border around it, so that's what the premium matte option is for. But for me, I like to use these over like half boxes, so that's what I use them for. Same thing with the corners sheet. So as usual, we have our 2 sets of medium corners, 1 set of small confetti corners, and then the teeny tiny corners specifically for this sheet. We have 3 sets of those. They're even smaller than the small size of confetti, and then we have the like photo corners down there. And these I love using over half and third boxes, sometimes even over like fancy labels or little things, just wherever. I use these a ton. And then here's the quote sampler. So since there weren't that many quotes to work with, I didn't really have enough to fill up a whole quarter sheet, so I just took the ones that I had and put them on a 6th sheet. So here's the quote sampler for this collection. And then as per always, we have our dangles and swoops. So here are the dangles. We have our long size, medium size, teeny tiny size, and then our garlands down here, and then the tiny swoops. So we got our mushrooms and butterfly wings primarily on here. And then we have the full width swoops, which are 1.5 inches wide. They go across the whole box essentially. So we have some really decorative ones up here, and then we have the more subtle ones here, and then they're mirrored on the right hand side. And then I did have room to fit some mini swoops as well, so we have 4 of those, and then 2 teeny tiny swoops. And then for the mini swoops sheet, we just have more of the mini swoops that are perfect for fitting in any corner. I love using these over half boxes too. So we have like a kind of simple dangle and swoop arrangement, and then we have some that are layered, as you can see right here. And then this is just a swoop combination, essentially. So there's that. And now we'll get into the bottom washies. So we'll start with my favorite, which is the 32mm, which is a little fairy garden scene. So we have some florals here. This is kind of a sneak peek of the floral collection, which is coming in March next month. But yeah, I just decided to do a little fairy garden, and there are some mushrooms in there as well. And then we have little fairies with their little sparkle trails flying around. And then of course, I had to do like the same kind of scene for like a full box overlay. So instead of putting it on the full box overlay sheet, it just made sense to put it on this sheet. So here it is. Super fun. So I love this. It's gonna make it really hard to like pick and choose with kits that like don't come with like the 30mm washi. It's gonna be so sad because then you have to choose one of these instead. So for the 15mm we have just this kind of basic one, which is just alternating elements. We have our fairy and our plants and mushrooms and keys. And then I did do a fairy garden 15mm. Obviously we don't have as much space to work with, so I couldn't do the bigger design as up here, but we do have a more solid design, same as on the double box scene overlays. So we just have those elements repeated, and then of course there's the full box overlay version over there. And then we do have our fairies flying with their sparkle trails, so that's an option. And then we have the confetti, of course. And then if you're using a Glam Planner or Planet Fancy kit, you'll want to pick up the 10 and 7mm option. So we have our 10, which is the mushrooms, and then the 7, which is the same as the header confetti pattern. And then we get 2 flags on the sheet as well. And so you'll want to pick up one of these and then one of the 15s if you're going to do that. And those are the washies. So that is essentially the collection. Now let's go over the bundle. As usual, this bundle is available as a mini or an ultimate. The mini does not have any underlays, and for the ultimate you can choose whatever underlays you want from the 4 that are available in the collection. It is also available either unfoiled or in any of the 46 foil colors available in shop, and you can also purchase the bundle as a printable. You can choose it as a printable with just the large underlays, or pay a couple extra bucks and get all the other underlays that are available in the collection. And then if you want to just purchase the entire collection as a printable, there is a listing for that as well. Plenty of options for you guys. So let's just go over this, which is an example of the ultimate bundle with the add-on sheet, which is available for both the mini or the ultimate. So starting off, we have the full box overlay page. We have 2 full-size confetti, 2 medium 4-corner, 2 medium 2-corner, and then the confetti double box scene. Then you get your underlay pages. This is an example of the large. And then on this page, we have the headers. You get one of each header. There's 26 total. And then you get the whole deco page and the corners page. And then the bottom washi page has the most basic option here. So if you want a different one, you can pick that up a la carte. And then the confetti is always at the bottom, along with our date dots, tiny deco bits, basic dividers, weekend banner. And then the add-on sheet is probably going to undergo a reformat pretty soon, but right now it still has 2 set underlays here if you need extra underlays, 2 medium 3-corner overlays, and then 2 from the full box overlay sheet and 2 from the quotes sheet. As per usual, I picked 1 full cover quote and 1 subtle quote, depending on what kind of full box you need to cover up with a quote. So that is the add-on sheet, and that is the bundle. So that is pretty much the fairy collection. I think it's going to go with a lot of fairy kits. I do have a few from over the years that have been released that I haven't really used yet. But it is definitely going to go with the Pixie Grove art that just came out from City Piper Designs. So yeah, if you picked up that art recently, definitely have a look at this collection. Some of you have told me that you are really liking the floral elements, and you might pick it up to go with some other kits that aren't necessarily fairy specific, and to that I say it might be a good idea to wait until next month when the floral collection comes out, because that obviously is going to be a better fit for any floral sets. This collection doesn't have too many floral elements, but the ones that you see like for the bottom washi, like they're definitely going to be there in the floral collection. So I'm not going to give you a specific week yet when that's going to come out, because I think it's going to change a little bit, but definitely sometime in March. So for the mock spread, I'm going to be using this older kit from Creating & Co. that I happen to have on hand, which is called Enchanted, and it is kind of like fairy tale themed rather than fairy themed, but like I thought it still worked anyway, and you know, there's mushrooms and butterflies here, so that's pretty much the fairy aesthetic that I'm going for. So I did pick the light gold foil to work with this. I was going to do like a lavender, but it's easier for me to foil light gold than lavender. So we're going to go ahead and lay all this down, and then I will come back and kind of show you where everything is. Okay guys, so here is the finished mock spread. Let's real quick go over where everything is. So as usual, I did leave some underlays uncovered so you can see what they look like, and then the rest are the covered versions. So we have the large uncovered, the fairies, the medium, and then the fairy garden. And then here's the large covered, the fairies covered. Let's see, I think that is the garden covered up. Here's another version of the garden covered up, and the medium covered. Here we have an example of some of the bottom washi. You can see the header overlays. You can see some tiny deco bits, and there are larger deco bits elsewhere as well. We have the confetti full overlays. I added some dangles to those. We have a border, the other border, that one, and then that one. So all the full box overlays are here, and then we have that quote, and then this full cover quote, as well as the flag overlays. And then throughout we have the swoops and dangles and garlands, all kinds, pretty much everywhere. So you can use them, you know, anywhere you want. You can use them over full boxes or half boxes, wherever they fit essentially. And then we have the corners as well. Let's see if we have any corners here and there, and that one, and then some photo corners. And then I like using these teeny tiny swoops in like fancy labels. And dividers, we have the key divider right there, that key divider, a different key one, the mushroom divider, the butterfly wing divider, that mushroom one, And yeah, I think that is it. So here's an example of how it can look. Super fun. I also love doing the swoops and dangles over the sidebar tracker. So yeah, I'm really in love with this collection. I think it's going to be perfect for any fairy themed kits or fairy tale magical. As you can see, it works pretty well with this kit, even though it wasn't super fairy specific. But yeah, so this collection will be available on Friday. So thank you so much for watching. If you want to like, comment, subscribe, and share, that would be wonderful. And I will see you in my next video. Ciao, ciao.